In this demonstration, we're now going to take a look at Network Watcher. So to begin with, let's head over to the Azure portal. Okay, and here we are in the Azure portal, and the first thing I've done, I'm just showing you that I've deployed 3 virtual machines already. I've got VM test 01, 02, and 03, and they are all in the resource group SL-Network Watcher, which I've already created. Now, one thing to note first of all, in order to use Network Watcher, you do have to install a Network Watcher agent in the machines that you might want to use the connection monitor feature with. So here's an example. If I go to VM test 02, and scroll down on the left hand side, you'll see the section called extensions, which if you did the AZ100 exam or other Azure training, you will probably be aware of. And this is where you can add different extensions, agents, chef agents, things like that. But one in particular is that Network Watcher extension. You can see it's already installed on this one, and this is a Windows machine. If I go over to VM test 03, this is a Linux machine where we've also installed, then you can see it's operating system Linux here. And if we go to extensions, and you can see again the Network Watcher agent is there. But just to show you how to install that, I'm going to go to test 01 where I haven't installed it yet. This is also a Windows machine. And we'll go down to extensions, click add, scroll down the left hand side, and you will see Network Watcher agent for Windows. And when you're building your virtual machines for the first time, you can also do it during provisioning. But we'll click Network Watcher agent for Windows, click Create on the right hand side, click OK, and you can see it's initializing that deployment and it's now deploying that agent. So it's logging into the machine and actually setting up that agent service to run inside the machine. So at this point, we can come out of the virtual machines and let's focus now on Network Watcher itself. To access it, click All Services, type in Network Watcher, and you'll see it there. It's probably worth favoriting it because you'll probably come back to it periodically. Click Network Watcher, and this takes you into the Network Watcher overview section first of all. Now on the right, you'll see your subscriptions and you'll see the regions that are supported by those subscriptions. In my case, I've got Skylines Primary is the one I want to use. If I expand this out, I can see the regions and whether Network Watcher is enabled or not in that particular region. So I've deployed these machines in North Central. I've already actually enabled Network Watcher in that region. Let's say I had deployed them in South Central. Well, I would just go over to South Central US, click these 3 little dots on the right for the context menu, and click Enable Network Watcher, and that will deploy the Network Watcher to that specific region as well. So just be aware of that. That's how you enable it. And you may get some questions on this on the exam itself. So with those enabled, let's take a look first of all at the topology view. So I can click this. This is under the monitoring section, choose my subscription, Skylines Primary, select my resource group, SL Network Watcher, and immediately it will actually load up and show me, okay, I've got my VNet, my subnet, I've got 3 network interfaces in there, and those are the network interfaces associated with those 3 VMs respectively. So it's quite a nice way to just get a viewpoint of what's going on in your environment, and you can also download that topology if you want to as well. Next, we'll take a look at Connection Monitor. So let's click Connection Monitor on the left-hand side. And what we can do with Connection Monitor is basically track the connection between, say, 2 of our virtual machines for latency, can they reach each other, etc. So we click the Add button here to create a new monitor, and we'll say from VM Test 02 to VM Test 03. We choose our subscription and the virtual machine, so we'll choose VM Test 02. And our target machine, VM Test 03. And we'll say port 22, which is our SSH port that we want to connect over. Again, we're connecting from the Windows machine to the Linux machine. We'll click Add at this point, and that will set up the connection monitor for us. Okay, and after a little while, that should complete. If you don't see it, just change the subscription to the one you created the monitor in, and then it should show up for you there. And here you can see the monitor, and if you click the context menu, you can start, stop, or delete that monitor from there. Now to get the details, you need to click this details pane on the bottom, expand it out, and then you might just need to move it up ever so slightly. Then you can scroll down, and now you can see details from that monitor. So we can see if we scroll down, average round trip time, 1 millisecond, so we know everything's working great there. No probes have failed at this point. We can also get some more information, so we can see that VM test 02 is connected on 10.0.0.5. Its next hop IP address to reach that machine is 10.0.0.6, which is actually the IP of VM test 03. If we scroll back up as well, you could get metrics on this. You can see the graph, you can sort of change the time, look at the data, and if you scroll down again, you can also create a topology view to kind of look at the connection between those two machines. So in this case, nothing big there. VM test 02 is going to basically, as its next hop, go into that VNet, which VM test 03 is in, and it's basically going to connect over 10.0.0.6. So just a great, area for just monitoring connections between machines and just checking the overall health of them as well. So now we've covered connection monitor. Let's scroll back over to the left. You'll notice you now have a link for network performance monitor. They recently added this. We're not going to cover details of NPM in this course. We sort of mentioned it in the lecture section, so you need to know what all the NPM monitors are for. But this is where you would add your NPM monitors that are as part of your log analytics workspace at this point. What you do need to know, however, is these things around IP flow verify, next hop, and security group view. So if we start with IP flow verify, this is a way to check if a packet is allowed or denied from a virtual machine. So again, we can sort of go in here, choose our subscription, pick our resource groups, already got it there, SL Network Watcher, pick our virtual machine. We'll take VM test 01 at this point. It'll automatically select this interface once you've selected the virtual machine, and say, okay, well, what about an outbound flow? So let's say we want to go from VM test 01. Let's say we want to ping the Bing address as an example. Let's go ahead and type the information in for that. So local port will have 60,000. We'll just put just a random local port there. And for our remote address, this is the Bing IP, which is 13.107.21.200. You could use any favorite website that you have there. And remote port, we know this is going to be on port 80, which is the web port that we want to check against. And at this point, we click check. It'll take a second. If you scroll down, you'll see it says load in. And a minute later, maybe not even, you'll be able to scroll down even further. There we go, it's actually already done. And you can see access allowed, and the security rule that's allowed, and that is the allow internet outbound rule. So very simple way to kind of check things, are working from a connectivity standpoint. And if it's denied, it's going to tell you which rule basically denies it. And at that point, I'm just going to hop over to security group view, click OK to, we don't need to save anything there. And basically, same concept. I can click in here, click say Skylines Primary, choose my resource group, choose my network interface. Go select our virtual machine first of all. So we'll click VM test 01, choose that network interface, and same thing here. You're going to get a list of all the effective rules that are in effect for that particular network interface and where they're coming from. You could, if you want, isolate them down by subnet rules and network interface rules. So you can see there, these are the network interface rules, these are the subnet rules, but these are the, ultimately the effective rules themselves. And you can click in on one of these rules if you want to, like deny internet outbound. If there's any additional information, it would be there. If we scroll to the right-hand side, you can also see the protocol and whether it's denied or allowed here as well. So just a overall viewpoint, instead of going back into the NSG to kind of look at things one at a time, you can just come in here, select the interface you want, and download this rule set if you want to as well. Last but not least, next hop is quite useful as well. You actually get some of this from that connection monitor that you may have seen earlier on. But same thing here, I can click my subscription. I've got my resource group there, I've got my machine, you go VM test 01 again, I've got my network interface, source IP address, and let's say, that next destination, let's say it was the Bing server again. This just tells you what the next hop will be for that particular, website or whatever IP you're trying to get to. So we click next hop after typing that in. Won't take too long, just probably about 10 seconds again, just like before. And as soon as that's done, you can see a result, next hop type internet, IP address, doesn't really have one there, it's going straight out to the internet itself. Now, if we do 10.0.0.5, which is one of the other machines in that subnet, click next hop, you'll notice again, we're not going to have a next hop specific IP because it's a machine that's in the same VNet, so you should get a virtual network as your next hop. Next hop type, yep, virtual network, no specific IP there. And you can see this is coming from the route table, the system route, the built-in routes that exist in the subnet, itself. Now, if we had something like a Palo Alto or a Checkpoint firewall and we'd put user-defined routes in that were redirecting the traffic through a firewall like an IDS IPS device, then we would see that IP address there because we've redirected the traffic into that IP, and then the rule sets would be applied on one of those network virtual appliances. A few other quick things just so to round out the knowledge there. We've got VPN troubleshoot itself. If we're trying to troubleshoot any site-to-site VPN type connections, we can basically do that here. We've got packet capture as well. This is quite useful. You click add, and essentially you can do the same thing. You can select the resource group. We'll select our subscription first. Choose the resource group, choose the machine, give it a test capture. Basically what it will do is capture, whether you want a maximum or minimum is up to you, and how long you want to capture for and any filters you want to put on. But this is essentially a packet capture that will output as a .cap file and store that in the storage account for you. Probably won't get asked anything on the exam around packet capturing, just know that this is where you would go to do it. And then we also have connection troubleshoot as well. Similar, framework here. You've got your subscription, resource group, VM, destination, but here is your probe settings that you would basically put in place. So for a destination port, a specific one, you could use this also as a way to kind of check a TCP connection from a VM to either an FQDN or another IPv4 address. But somewhat redundant in some cases to some of the other checks you've got there. It just depends what you're trying to do. For connection monitor, you do have to have, again, those agents running on both those machines. Some of the other services you don't, basically. So just try to understand what it is you're trying to achieve. If you're trying to monitor the connection between two machines, connection monitor is where you want to go. If you're trying to understand if traffic is allowed and what might be denying it, IP flow verifier is where you would go. If you're just trying to figure out, okay, what's the next hop? What has it got to go to next? The next hop view would be where you'd want to go. And then these others kind of support you as well for other specific things like packet captures, VPN troubleshooting, etc. So just definitely know for the exam the type of diagnostic tool or monitor you would basically use, because those are the kinds of questions you're likely to see out there. And with that, this concludes this demonstration.